Welcome to Cinema Bites, your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. The film begins with us seeing a woman named Drasa waking up in a small cafe. Here, she hears the sound of an airplane. She wakes up immediately and quickly grabs her rifle. Drasa is an excellent sniper and is waiting for her target, Aligar. The scene changes, and we see Levi waking up, a little surprised. He is also a sniper, but he's been away from military service for 4 years. He decides to go for a walk to clear his mind. Eventually, he reaches the port and sits there until the sun rises. Levi writes a few notes in his diary and thinks about his life. Suddenly, he receives a message on his phone from an unknown person asking him to go to a base, and after a few hours we see him arrive at the place. It's the Federal Reserve. A soldier is behind him and guides him to a meeting room where he meets a high-ranking official named Miss Weaver. She starts talking and presents data showing the sniper's success in his missions. But now he's not working, and she says she has something special for him, something to make him return to work. At the same time, in Lithuania, we see Drasa meeting her father Eric at her place. The girl feels she made a mistake when she finished the mission because the man had a family, and she also says she can't sleep well because of her job, which is wearing her down. But her father tells her that the target became rich from bombs and mines, causing thousands of deaths and great losses to many families. Then the conversation changes when Eric says, "I'm dying inside from cancer, and I've set a day to end all this and finally find my love in the next world." The girl is upset by his words, but he insists, saying, "My life is mine, and I've decided." She's sad, but accepts her father's decision, and Drasa sits to drink something with him. A few days later, Levi wakes up on a plane, and suddenly a soldier comes and asks him to take his things because he's going to be dropped at the jump zone and isn't allowed to take anything with him. The soldier gives him a small bag and says, "As soon as you reach the ground, you have to walk 38 kilometers north." Levi is surprised by his location and asks, "Where are we?" But the soldier is silent and doesn't answer. After a while, Levi jumps and lands in a wide valley surrounded by high mountains. He doesn't meet anyone until the next day, and when the time comes, he arrives at a valley with a large crevice covered in dense fog. As he circles around, he finds a soldier named Giddy, who's been in the area for a year, and Levi is the first person he's talked to. Giddy tells him that Levi will live at the western site for a year and invites him for a drink while explaining all the details before taking him into the tower. At that moment, Levi notices that on the other side of the crevice is the eastern tower. Giddy explains that communication with that side is forbidden, but he also says he saw a change of soldiers early in the morning. When they enter the tower, Levi sees a picture of the first guard captain, Bradford. Then Giddy explains that the outer bunker contains the warehouse where he'll find everything he needs: weapons, ammunition, mines, and tools. Also, every 30 days, there is radio communication. Every soldier must send updates. Levi is surprised and asks, "What's this?" Giddy replies, "That's a signal transmitter distributed in the area. Its job is to disrupt satellite spying on the crevice." He continues, saying there is no external communication, but there's an emergency button on the shortwave radio. If anyone crosses the crevice, the defense system will immediately start according to the Defense Ministry protocol. When Levi hears the sirens, Giddy tells him, the order is to run without stopping. Then Giddy mentions that the whole area was built during World War II, and there was an agreement between the west and east sides to hide and protect the place. Levi is surprised and asks, "Are we protecting the place to stop anyone from entering, or to prevent an invasion from the other side?" Giddy replies, "The important thing is to stop whatever is inside the crevice from getting out." Levi is confused and doesn't really understand what this mission means. But Giddy continues, saying, "This is the main mission we're working on." From the previous year, he tells him he must focus on the middle walls, which are easiest to climb, and the automatic weapons in the north and south also protect the area. Levi still can't believe what could be hiding under the dense fog in the crevice. But suddenly, Giddy throws a grenade, and after the explosion, he hears a strange sound that catches his attention. Giddy says that sound is empty men, and no one really knows who they are. He also says that in the late 40s, they sent about 2,400 men, 3 battalions, into the crevice, and no one returned. Levi isn't convinced that this place is full of horror and monsters. Component placement. But Giddy insists, saying, without knowing what's below, this is a gateway to hell, and we are the Watchers. The next day, Levi says goodbye to his companion and enters the facility. A few hours later, Soldier Giddy is evacuated by helicopter, but once his identity is confirmed, the soldier thanks him for his service, then shoots him. They dispose of the body and inform Commander Weaver about the replacement. After the scene ends, things change. After the scene ends, things change, and Levi appears leaving the tower to update the systems and make sure the weapons are working fine. After 30 days, Levi communicates with the outside world by radio and receives a report that there is no contact with the enemy and that everything is running smoothly. Suddenly, Levi has a question, but the radio cuts off, and there's no more communication. He has nothing to do but look for something to read on the shelf, and as he searches, he finds writings on the wall. These writings are 7 sentences, each from a previous guard. One of the sentences catches his attention. He who dares enter the unknown falls asleep and can walk. This sentence was written by the first guard in the tower, Captain Bradford, in 1947. One morning, when he hears a sound, Levi decides to look at the other tower, and when he does, he sees a guard. It turns out the guard is Drossa, who chose that role days past, and on a quiet night the two are sitting atop the tower. Drossa was watching Levi, and when she got bored with the routine, she decided to take a risk and communicate. She fired a shot in the air to get Levi's attention and started a written conversation with him. But Levi hesitated when she told him communication was forbidden. Drossa replied, "It doesn't matter. Today's my birthday, and I'll do what I want." When Levi agreed to communicate, he raised his glass and celebrated Drossa's birthday. This made the young soldier happy, and in the middle of the night, Drossa played loud music and danced as if at a party. Then she challenged Levi to show her his shooting skills, but he didn't want to play the game. When she saw his refusal, she shot Levi's cup with a perfect shot, not wanting to be late. Levi, he responded to her and hit the champagne bottle. He studied her for a moment. Something was moving on the walls of the crack. Levi looked to the side, and when they both looked, they saw something strange. When the light passed over the area, Levi saw strange creatures resembling humans, but intertwined with plant parts. Without thinking much, he opened fire on the creatures and activated the ground mines immediately. Drossa grabbed the machine gun and helped Levi eliminate those creatures. After they took down all the beasts climbing the rocky walls, Drossa found beside her that one of the creatures managed to climb up the tower. Its strange appearance became even clearer. When Drossa saw it, she opened fire and killed it. But there were still more coming. Levi didn't stay silent and started shooting with all his might at those on the eastern wall and those beside him, as the danger increased. Drossa didn't stop. She kept firing next to Levi using the motion-activated weapons. That night was intense, but they managed to hold both towers all night. The next day, Levi pulled himself together, made repairs, and set new bombs. Amidst the fog, he launched a small drone that flew quickly. The soldiers were puzzled for days, but by coincidence, the soldiers became Levi's friends. He was always interested in his new companion, and they played and had fun even if they were far apart. They enjoyed their free time because, after the last attack, there were no more attacks. After months, on another night, Levi woke up surprised again. At the same time, Drossa was watching him from afar. One night, Levi saw Drossa crying. We saw that she was remembering her father's words about leaving this life. She wrote that she had a bad day and wished Levi was with her. Levi couldn't stop thinking about Drossa's words. He remembered the phrase the guard had written, so he built a launcher device to reach the other side. Drossa liked the idea, and when she understood the plan, she came down from the tower and helped secure the rope. After a while, Levi wrote an invitation for them to have dinner together that night, which made Drossa very happy. After she accepted the invitation, Levi got ready and set off on the hanging rope, reaching halfway and crawling on the rope, seeing the mysterious and dangerous crack below. Fortunately, he managed to cross safely. After a while, he met Drossa, who told him she had prepared a delicious dinner for them. When he arrived, Levi gave her a flower and they spent the night happily. After she told him he smelled bad, Levi had to go shower. After that, they spent the night together for the first time after 6 months of knowing each other while serving in the army. They spoke kindly, each sharing stories about their life and how they came to this place. In their military career, after dinner, they gathered inside the tower, and Drossa played music so they could dance. The next day, Levi said goodbye to Drossa and set off on the hanging rope to return to his tower. Unfortunately, at the moment when the unexploded bomb was about to detonate and the monsters attacked, the rope was cut by debris, causing him to fall into the crack before reaching the top. They saw Levi falling freely into the crack, and without hesitation, Drossa didn't waste any time, got herself ready, and jumped after him. But she landed in a fast-flowing stream. Fortunately, she managed to get out of the water. At the same time, Levi was hanging on a tree in a strange and frightening place. Near him was a creature that looked like a horse and was about its size. Levi responded by opening fire on it. but unfortunately he fell onto the tree roots, which turned out to be a cursed being trying to devour him. At that moment, Drasa arrived and pulled Levi out of the deadly trap. After that, they discovered that the place was like a forest surrounding a station enveloped in thick fog. Suddenly, they heard the sound of horses, and mutated knights appeared and attacked. One grabbed Levi, and the other tried to attack Drasa, but she managed to dodge and killed her opponent. Levi managed to free himself from the attack and also destroyed the attacker. After regrouping, Drasa realized she had lost the climbing device, which was essential for escaping, in the fire. When they examined the corpse, they discovered it was from the 1st American Paratrooper Squad. Drasa also said she saw remains of British and Soviet soldiers. This made them realize that these creatures were once living men who served in the 1940s, when soldiers still rode horses. As they continued walking on the hostile land, they found corpses swallowed by the roots of dead trees, becoming part of them. After walking a bit, Levi and Drasa found a small village. The ground had visible cracks, as if caused by an earthquake. Suddenly, they started hearing monster sounds coming. They were shocked and afraid that what was coming would be horrific, so they decided to enter an old church to find shelter. Levi discovered that these people were dying on their own and asked what could be worse than death. Suddenly, they were attacked by spider-eyed creatures and had to defend themselves with all their strength. But it didn't stop there, as human-like creatures entered, trying to kill them both. Fortunately, both were skilled snipers and managed to escape the attack. Both felt the enemy was about to surround them, so they rushed toward the crack walls where they found an entrance to a bunker and had no choice but to enter. The place clearly had been attacked, and the roots filled the area as if they had taken over. Inside, they found a lab with the remains of men who had died there. Levi found a corpse holding a box labeled, "God forgive us." The backup power was still working in the lab, and the tape recorders were running. On the tapes, a scientist said it was the year leaders were making atomic. In addition, a powerful 8.1 earthquake had destroyed the facility, and now their mission was to control what had been created. The scientists said they would do everything to prevent the poison from escaping the crack. The exposure to the biochemical agent caused human DNA to merge with plants, insects, and animals, resulting in strange genetic mutations. Drasa found a small cabinet with some black vials, and one of them was labeled the last sample. Then the doctor explained that the waste had become contagious. There would be a 5-day period before the body transformed completely. After watching the video, they entered the next room and found a modern computer from the 2000s, indicating someone had been visiting and studying the place. He saw the name of the company and it was Dark Lake. She is specialized in genetic research. It exists because it is still under study. For the drones that were collecting genetic samples from the hybrid creatures for research, army improvement, and creating super soldiers. At that moment, they understood they were there in a place that had been a scene for inhumane experiments. Levi found a file about the Stray Dog Project, containing details about making an atomic bomb that had been planted at a strategic point in the apartment. According to the self-destruction protocol, the file said the safety distance at the time of the explosion was more than 40 kilometers away. After discovering this, they decided to leave the bunker, but before they got out, they heard the sound of creatures outside and remembered that they think and act like humans. Bravely, they went out and tried to find a quiet way. But unfortunately, Drasa fell into a trap and was dragged by fares. She tried to free herself but hit her head and lost consciousness. Levi, whose vision was blurry, continued searching for Drasa or another place, where he found a ballistic missile that seemed inactive. In a small hideout, he saw Drasa hanging and tied with a rope. After a while, her kidnapper appeared, a creature that looked human, but its entire body had turned into roots. Drasa woke up and realized what was happening. She managed to partially free herself and started hitting the creature with anything she could find. The humanoid creature was very strong, but Drasa kept striking blow after blow, even though it didn't want to lose its prey. The brave girl continued to fight courageously until Levi arrived and finished off the creature. Levi escaped from the creature and discovered that the defeated enemy was actually the first Guardian. He told her, "We are here in the chemical weapons lab." Hit one of the missiles, causing a leak of the contaminated substance in the tank, revealing a large mass of organic threads like roots intertwined together. Inside, people had been completely killed and became part of the huge organic structure. They walked among the organic branches, unable to believe what they were seeing. Suddenly, Drasa collided with a sticky thread, and a member became aggressive and started chasing them. Drasa didn't waste time. She threw a bomb into the creature. After the explosion, they heard screams as if men were burning alive. After escaping the place, they found military vehicles in a garage, took one, and decided to return to the place where Levi had fallen to use the zip line to get him up to the eastern tower. One tied the rope to the powerful winch of the jeep, while the other bought some time by firing at the creatures. After successfully escaping, they started climbing the massive wall of the apartment, and when they were halfway up, the enemies began climbing with them. It wasn't long before they were attacked again, so Levi used the sword he had taken from Captain Bradford, who died to fend off the attack. Darsa helped him, and she was quick to eliminate her opponents. At one point, Levi was nearly thrown from the vehicle, and when he saw the alien men climbing the ropes, he decided to pierce the fuel tank and set it on fire. The resulting explosion propelled the vehicle forward, and they had no choice but for Darsa to cut the rope with only a few meters left to reach the top. After a while, they agreed they had to do something to prevent this evil from spreading. One of them said, "We must destroy this." Levi made a new zip line to return to his position and warned Darsa that transformation effects would occur within 5 days. If nothing happened, they'd be safe, but if he found signs, they'd be sentenced to death. Darsa was emotional and said she hoped they'd make it out next week to see each other again. Levi said, "I love you. We'll be together soon." After that, Levi attacked the control center and started talking to Weaver. Weaver told him that the main goal of the mission was to make the American Army invincible and also explained the drone control system that had been activated. She inquired if he was the one who had gone down to the apartment. Levi denied hearing any communication, so Weaver ordered the immediate elimination of the Eastern Tower without discussion. Levi said he would do that after finishing the call. Weaver checked the data logs, which showed Levi communicating with Darsa. She then ordered the commander to prepare a team, warning that Levi was a mistake in the mission and that she would take him out herself. The next day, while both were setting traps and resting on either side of the apartment, Darsa wrote a letter to Levi saying, "I love you too." This made Levi very happy. Suddenly, they heard the sound of a helicopter and confirmed it by sight. Levi shouted, "Darsa, run!" and they both ran quickly into the forest. After confirming that neither Levi nor Darsa was in their positions, Weaver ordered the activation of the military quadcopter protocol. Immediately, large military drones took off from the apartment and spread around the area. It didn't take long before one of the drones intercepted Levi and started firing heavy rounds at him. A powerful shot hit a tree and flew towards Levi, but he quickly recovered and fired back, hitting the drone near his position. Darsa was behind him, and the enemy was chasing her. When he looked at the distance indicator, he saw the distance between her and the tower was 3,800 meters. With precise aim, Darsa shot down other drones until they collided with each other. After dealing with the drones and moving away from the starting point, they stopped for a while, regrouped, and looked at the two towers. Darsa was focused and determined to confront Weaver. At the same time, Weaver was looking at the writings left by all the Guardians on the walls over the years. But one sentence caught her attention, the one Levi wrote in 2025. "There are 3 things that cannot be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth." While this was happening, Levi aimed at the transmitter antenna and fired at it until it exploded, and Darsa did the same. The explosion sent sparks to the rest of the transmitters along the hull via a cable Levi had installed on the eastern side, as well as another cable on the western side. Weaver realized afterward that this was a planned move by Levi and Darsa before they escaped. They had disabled the camouflage devices and exposed the apartment to satellites. As a result, the dog protocol was automatically activated as programmed. Knowing they had less than 2 minutes before the atomic bomb at the bottom of the apartment exploded, Weaver hurried to escape with her men. Levi and Darsa rolled up their sleeves and ran at maximum speed away from the impact area. But it was too late. The bomb exploded with great force, destroying everything around it, even reaching the helicopter that Weaver and her men were in, killing them. Levi was injured and could no longer run well, and the shockwave hit him and pushed him into a waterfall on the other side. After Darsa studied the situation, she had no choice but to observe the huge closeness that happened, and she isolated herself in a cave and started marking stones and counting the days. She was afraid she might have been contaminated by the substance, and she realized this on the 5th day. She was holding the envelope, so Levi gave it to her and told her if he didn't make it, she should open the envelope at sunset. On the 5th day, while in the cave, she came out, and then we saw her in France on a hill next to a memorial, waiting for something. When the sun was setting, she opened the envelope and read a beautiful romantic phrase. It was like a verse from a poem, and this phrase made her feel deeply moved. After a while, she left and didn't return. Months passed, and suddenly, because Darsa was working as a waitress in a seaside restaurant. In a moment, she noticed him sitting in the restaurant. The joy was boundless, and they reunited with passion and love. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos.